Today we're going to be looking at some creepy encounters people had. So I, 25 female, have a husky that I walk around my quiet neighbourhood and brush outside for obvious reasons. Yesterday around 3 PM, I'm standing in front of my driveway brushing my dog when I turn around to see a complete stranger who is a grown man standing behind me. He begins by asking me if he can say hi to my dog because he's seen me around a lot, and already I'm hesitant, but I allow it, and at this time I notice he's in FaceTime with his phone pointing at me too. Okay, so, we're one paragraph in and this is already freaky. A stranger snuck up behind you, asked to stroke your dog, and now he's in FaceTime with the camera pointing towards you. This is turning a bit sinister and I don't like this. Then he tells me he just moved here from South Africa and bought the house at the end of the road that's been abandoned for over a year now and was never posted for sale. He starts asking if I'm 16 because he likes 16-year-olds. Following up with, are you alone right now? Is this your house? Is this your car? Do you live alone? Are you around often, etc.? I politely say I'm not willing to answer questions like that and tell him he should leave. You should also call the police. If he's saying he likes 16-year-olds, that's really weird. He walks into the woods across the street, coming back 15 minutes later, attempting to invite himself into my house and asking more questions, this time along the lines of, do you lock your doors? And are you alone at night time? Getting upset with me for saying I do not want him in my property and I would be calling our cop neighbour to come outside if he did not leave me alone. He stood in the street watching me walk into the house and lock up before walking back into the abandoned house. This is really weird. This man basically lives in the woods and he's now trying to get into your house. Now I'm left just thinking if I'm overreacting or if being creeped out is the correct response. I would say being creeped out is definitely the right response. Okay, so we do have a little update. Let's read what that says. Update: I put in a report and spoken to a couple of neighbours, but none of them have seen him around, which I guess is good. And thank you to everyone for concerns and advice. Okay, so she's spoken to her neighbours, but she hasn't reported us to police. I would say you need to do that. Put it this way: if this guy's basically living in a forest and you don't know who he is and he snuck up on you and he's in FaceTime, like, oh, I don't know. I get really weird vibes from that. This is why it's so important to keep your eye out for people because you don't know what he could be plotting. Definitely creepy. Stay safe and call your neighbour and make sure all your doors and windows are locked. Also, let all your neighbours know about this. So scary. I think she's gonna definitely do that, thank God. But I would say take it further, like report it to police. Do not doubt yourself because this encounter was creepy AF. If you're friends with the neighbour you mentioned in your post, then I'd go over and tell him what happened. Maybe he can keep an eye out for you. I also have law enforcement who lives across the street from my house and he's always been helpful whenever anything suspicious gone down in our neighbourhood. Also, if you ever see this guy again, try to take a photo to show to the police should he decide to return. It also wouldn't hurt to invest in some cheap security cameras and install them around the perimeter of your home. Yeah, so basically people are pretty concerned about that. Yet again, we don't know if these encounters are real or if they're fake. I'm kind of hoping that they're fake. But by the sounds of it, some guy is living in an abandoned house and he's gonna try and break in and get you. Am I being followed? I, 29 female, have been hiking at a wooded trail near my house for about 3 years now, and it's my favourite trail due to the beautiful waterfalls and meadows, but had several creepy encounters over the years. Luckily, I always hike with my 90-pound dog. He's the sweetest boy but will protect me. Okay, so she said that she's had several creepy encounters. What type of creepy encounters are you having? And why would you continue to go? Yeah, the dog might protect you, but you don't know who you're up against. First encounter was 3 years ago in the winter when I was walking up a hill and Baker starts growling and like I've ever heard. I look around and realise there's a man in the shadows of the woods watching us, and when I notice him, he starts walking slowly towards us with his head covered. I said hello as usual and he didn't respond. I kept walking and got a feeling that I should turn back. When I did, I realised he had turned around in the trail, middle of a hill, so not a common spot to turn around. But once he saw me, he walked into the woods and stared out at the valley hugging a tree. So nothing too crazy, but it just felt off. If you ever are in a situation where it feels off, you better trust your gut instinct. Put it this way: if a guy basically looks like, oh, he's stalking you from the woods, and then he's walking towards you with his head down, not showing his face, that's weird. Like, that's really suspicious. Around the same time a year later, Baker and I are walking in the same trail, and again Baker starts growling. He usually is very excited to meet anyone / anything. I realise there appears to be the same man standing off in the shadows watching us, but I figured maybe Baker just got scared so he was standing away from us, waiting to cross the bridge, otherwise he could have easily kept walking along the trail instead of waiting for us. We cross the bridge and keep walking. Okay, so you've literally noticed the exact same man a year later. Does that man live in the woods? I don't like this. I again get a feeling that I should turn around. When I do, I realise he is behind us, so had no reason to be waiting for us to cross the bridge. I sit down with Baker by my side and pull out my phone while making it clear I've seen him. Not staring, just glancing his direction. He stops when I turn around, even though I'm off the trail and not in his way, but continues walking after I pull out my phone. I start walking back and find a large stick he had left had been sharpened with a knife into a spear. Now, I'm so sorry, this doesn't need to be put into Reddit, this needs to be put into a police report. By the sounds of it, this man is stalking women with like a big stick. I don't like this. I took the spear and continue walking while looking around me the entire time. I know I should have reported it at this point, but I convinced myself I was being paranoid. No, you're not paranoid. This is reality. Yet again, whenever you get a gut instinct and a really weird feeling in your belly, you need to trust it. Something is up with this man. Like, this is so many red flags. About a year later in the winter, I'm walking along the same path. Maybe stupid, but I took a year off and again just convinced myself I was paranoid. paranoid. It's snowing with the trails mostly empty, and suddenly I see a bunch of trees with frowning faces made out of the snow, despite not seeing anyone in the trail for miles. Baker again starts growling at something in the woods, but I can't see, so we turn around. I don't report it because I figured it would never be taken seriously. I mean, that might be true, but it should be taken seriously. Something is really weird, and why do you keep going back to the same spot? There's a man living in the woods trying to do bad stuff. Then today, a few months later, I'm walking along the trail and I find a tree with "I see you" written in chalk. I immediately get a weird feeling and turn back and report it to the park rangers and police. Okay, so that is the end of that. We do have update, and by the sounds of it, these updates get weird. Update: I'm working with the park rangers to keep an eye. After sharing in my hiking group on Facebook, several women have came forward with similar experiences at the same place. One woman was stalked by a man in a full snowsuit in the middle of July in this trail. Another was followed all the way to her car, with him appearing along the trail watching her from the woods at various points. Yeah, so this is an issue. This is why you need to trust your gut, because if you reported it at the beginning, this man could have been put into jail. All of you calling me stupid for hiking on my favourite trail after waiting a year to go back are typical victim blamers, and I don't like you. I'm listening to the suggestions to not go back, but belittling me is unnecessary. I'm scared enough. Update 2. 6 different women who came forward with similar experiences with a similar looking man at the same park. They've all reported it to the rangers. I interviewed with the local news who reached out to me, and it's everywhere. Rangers are not happy with me for sharing with the public. That's fine with me, as everyone has a right to know. Someone wiped off the ICE message before the news team could see it. It rained, but not that heavily, so quite clearly somebody in there knows what's going on. They've seen the news. I'm getting a weird feeling that that man is a bit of a weirdo and he's trying to plot something against women. 3 separate women messaged me thinking it was the same exact guy, despite the women not knowing each other. They stated he is unstable and spends most days at this park. His cousin reported him too. I shared his name and photos with the rangers, and apparently the suspect is an old park ranger himself, so we shall see. So yeah, it looks like it was someone who used to work there. Oh, that's weird. Somebody being in a forest all alone is creepy enough, but it's the fact that there was like a spear at the beginning, like that was sharpened, and it's like, why is he sharpening it? Oh, and the suspect apparently loves climbing trees, and there's a bunch of photos of him 50 feet in the air, so he's probably up in the trees watching. Update 3. Apparently he has a secret spot in the woods where he has a chainsaw and gasoline. We reported it to the rangers. Pretty sure having a secret campground in a public park is illegal, with or without a chainsaw, and stalking/intimidation is a form of illegal assault, so there's no reason he can't at least be questioned. I mean, I would say this man definitely needs to be questioned. You also need to look into if people have been assaulted around that area, if people in like a 5-mile radius went missing and never been found, especially women. I don't like that. That whole story is really freaky, and that's why you need to be careful whenever you go out. You don't know who could be watching you. And as per usual, I'm going to be going out for a walk after this video. The guy seems potentially dangerous. The fact that your dog reacted like this is also something to pay attention to. I would stay away and find another trail to hike. You never know what he's capable of. I would also recommend maybe going with other people. You don't want to go alone. Yes, you've got a dog and it might be able to stop him, but it doesn't mean he might not try to get you. I really think you should report this guy. The police need to notice some guys lurking in the woods and following women consistently over a several year period. I don't think he's stalking you specifically, but he's hunting. Dogs always know best. I mean, yeah, I do think he's hunting, because remember that spear? It was sharpened by a knife. Like, why is he doing that? It is just weird. Like, something about that whole situation is very eerie. To me, I think he is plotting to kill somebody. Like, I'm just getting them vibes. Girl, what are you doing? I get not wanting to give up a trail because of a creep, but is this worth your life or your dog's life? You're one walk away from being a true crime podcast. Is this trail really worth it? Report it to the cops for sure, but they tend to not do much, so what to do is really up to you. I mean, I think the best thing she needs to do is first of all get another hiking partner, hopefully a man, because I don't think that creep would come up to another man. Maybe 2 women, but not a man, and then maybe go to a different trail. That's just weird. It's the fact that quite clearly someone is living out there and he's like writing subliminal messages. I don't like that. Well, anyways guys, that's really a video there. There's some creepy encounters. It would seem like more creepy encounters. Let me know definitely well. Press like or subscribe and see you all tomorrow for another video.